Well, let me check the comments here. 16, we got about maybe a fourth of the way there, but I get it. It's all good, guys. It's great to be with you. I'm trying to order bagels online for a manager meeting, and I can't believe how difficult it is to accomplish that task. But it goes along perfectly with what I want to talk about today. But first and foremost, let me just say how excited I am to be with you guys. See your bright, smiling, pictured faces on the screen, and we're ready to have an awesome Friday. How's your week been so far? We're lying almost dead center in the middle of February, 6 weeks into 2021. Can you believe it? It's unbelievable. And Miriam says she's happy for the beautiful, I said bountiful, I live in Bountiful, the beautiful weather in California. And today we have like a rainy, drizzly day in Utah, which is beautiful for me mid-February because the golf courses are open. It's happening. So guys, I'm excited to be with you. I want you to think about this statement that you hear in business a lot. In fact, it was said in the morning Ascent that I did last week when I showed that video. So think about it for just a moment. When you're talking about business, here's the idea. What is more important, the idea or execution? Which of those two things, right? Like, is it more important to have a great idea about this social media platform called Facebook, or is the execution of it more important? And look, you could go back and forth and debate, well, without one, without the other, and all of that. But most people would agree that the actual execution of it is what matters the very most. And in the way of that and in the spirit of that, I'm in total agreement that look, the execution is critical, but we have to be careful not to think that that's just it, because execution is so critical. It requires so much of the mind. So like when you really think about how are you going to accomplish this great task that you want to accomplish, what's going to be required, it's all going to start up here. And a story I told yesterday, I'll keep sharing with you guys because I love this story, is a story about Tom Brady, who back in May, right, his football season ended beginning of January 2020, right? In May, there was a charity golf tournament. Some of you may have seen it on TV called The Match. It was Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning playing against Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson. And this match is a total charity event, very fun, relaxed, low-key type thing. And one of the things that was so funny that just came out this week was a story from Charles Barkley, who said when he arrived to this charity golf event, he looks and goes past Tom Brady, who's out in the parking lot doing these strenuous stretches and kind of this workout in the parking lot before this charity golf event. And Charles Barkley looks at him like, man, what in the bleep are you doing right now? Like, what are you doing? This is like a relaxing day. You're going to go golfing. So what the bleep are you doing? And Tom Brady looks up and says, trying to win a Super Bowl, man. And you think about the power of that. The fact that back in May, 4 months before the season, 3 months after the season had ended, just in the middle of the off season, that this guy is already so focused on something that's not going to happen at best for 10 months. It was 10 months away till there was a Super Bowl. But he knew that the actions that he was taking at that moment were going to impact his ability to perform through the season, get them to a Super Bowl, and eventually win a Super Bowl. So you look at it, you say, well, what's more important, the idea or the execution? Well, the idea is I want to win a Super Bowl. The execution is setting up and doing what it takes to get there. But guys, I want you to pause for a moment and remember, if the idea is what's happening up here, inside your mind, perhaps inside your heart, and the execution is what happens externally, what is required of you, of me, of Tom Brady, of anyone else who endeavors to do anything great? What is required of them to accomplish that greatness? It's not just that exterior action. We know it's what's going on up top, what's happening in your heart. How bad do you want it? And so in the spirit of that, I've been reading a lot this week about mindset and about how critical it is. And look, this is one of our foundation items, right? The mindset that we're focusing on. And as I've looked at the issue of mindset, I've come across some great articles and some great reading. So I have a few quotes for you guys that I want to read. You can write them down if you want. Listen to this one. Your ability is what you're capable of doing. Motivation determines what you do. Attitude determines how well you do it. I love that. Motivation determines what you do. Are you excited about it? Are you doing those things that you need to do? But your attitude determines how well you do it. Guys, have you ever had to work out and you've been on some type of accountability thing? And like, have you had one day workouts better than another? Maybe your attitude is a little bit different. How about calling your leads? Okay. Have you ever been like me where you said, oh, I'm going to call 10 leads a day or 30 leads a day or 2 hours of calling, whatever it might be? And have you had those days where you're like, ring, ring. Hi, are you interested in engaging in a real estate transaction? No. Okay, nice. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Hang up. Have you ever done that like me? I mean, the quality of that call is stupendous, right? Look, I know we've all been there, but listen to that. The attitude determines how well you do it. And there's 3 parts to the attitude that matter. And here's what I want you to do. So if you have a pen and paper out, write these down. If not, just a mental note here. 3 areas of your attitude. Number 1, your outlook. Number 2, your approach. And number 3, your ability to overcome the adversity that you're going to experience. Right? Number 1, the outlook. Number 2, the approach. Number 3, the ability to overcome the adversity. Listen to what President Lincoln said. I got to find this real quickly. I love this quote. Oh, I can't find my quote. You're going to be disappointed because it was a great one. I'll try to remember it off the top of my head, actually. Give me 5 seconds here. Oh, here we go. Abraham Lincoln. Are you ready? We can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or rejoice because thorn bushes have roses. How about that for an attitude? What's the outlook that you have right now? Right? What is it? Think about the real estate market right now. And I know I talked about this at Summit, but think about the current market situation. You would all do well. I would do well to be having a better outlook, a better attitude, a better focus on what's going on right now. Quit focusing on the thorns and the thorn bushes and focus on the roses. What good is happening? What good is going to happen because of what we're experiencing right now? Your attitude absolutely matters in what you accomplish every day. I know if I were in a room right now, when I described earlier that phone call where you hardly tried, and because of your attitude, right? And I'd even take it a step further. You make that poor phone call, and have you ever hung up and gone, that one actually could have been something if I had tried a little harder, right? If my attitude had been just a little bit different there, maybe something could have come of that. So think about it. What's your current outlook? What's your outlook about showing up? What's your outlook or philosophy or whatever on training? Look, you're all here. I'm preaching to the choir, but think about it. What is your outlook? Second, approach. What is the approach that you're taking? I love this, actually. I'm thinking I've got a few things going through my mind, but one of my favorite stories, I think you guys have probably all heard this. Boy, and now I'm repeating George's stories. This is great. George tells a great story of when he was going in for a heart surgery. And I believe he says that he went up to the surgeon before and he's like, hey, how are you feeling today? You feeling happy? You and your wife didn't get in a fight before you left home today, right? You're feeling energized. You're having a good attitude, right? Think about that. And he loved it because he knew his life was in the hands of this surgeon that day. And it was imperative that this surgeon's approach was going to be great. And when you're approaching anything with a positive, good attitude, aren't you bound to do it better? Aren't you bound to have more success than if you approach it from any type of negative space? Listen to what the great coach John Wooden stated. If you don't have time to do it right, when will you have time to do it over? If you don't have time to do it right, when will you have time to do it over? Rarely, right? Rarely will you ever do it over. Well, rarely will you have the time to do it over. Rarely would you ever choose to do it over. Guys, approach this from the right space. Have the right attitude. Great things are going to happen. Next, all right, final one. The ability to overcome adversity. You know you're going to face it. Some of you are facing it right now. All of us, my gosh, I don't know why I say some. All of us are facing some type of adversity right now, whatever it might be. It's just unquestionable. Another great coach, the famous Notre Dame coach, Lou Holtz, has two quotes. Never tell your problems to someone else. 20% don't care. The other 80% are glad you have them. That's kind of a negative outlook. But when you think about it, it's just a matter of pushing forward. And here's the next one. Number 2, show me someone who has done something worthwhile, and I'll show you someone who has overcome adversity. And I find that so fascinating because you can look at anyone who's accomplished anything great, and you know they've had to overcome great things to get there. And when I think about the interesting thing, we've talked before about how important gratitude is, and the idea of have an attitude of gratitude, or attitude is everything. Is it? I think it is. I mean, have you worked with someone that just has a poor negative attitude? Look, it doesn't mean we're all immune from it, but you know what I'm talking about. Think for a moment about what's driving you today, right now. Is it the idea? Is it the execution? What's your attitude about this right now? What's your focus? At the end of the day, you're being driven. Everything's being driven by what's going on up in your mind. My thoughts lead to my emotions, actions, and results. You say it every morning. Do you really believe that? My thoughts lead to my emotions, actions, and results. And my belief is that it absolutely does. What you think about calling a for sale by owner is going to change the way you feel about it. And the way you feel about something is going to change the way you decide to act about that. And the way that you act about something is going to create the results that you have. So if I think calling a for sale by owner in this market where FSBOs can sell any home they want, anytime they want it, and I create no value, guess what? I'm going to feel pretty poorly about calling a for sale by owner. And if I'm feeling pretty poorly about calling a for sale by owner and any potential results I may have, I probably am going to choose to not call them because I don't think it's going to matter. I don't feel good about doing it. So my actions aren't going to. And then guess what's going to happen? Final thing. It's going to end up in my poor results. You could fill in the gap there with SOI. If I think in my head that my SOI doesn't stand a chance right now because there's nowhere to, you can't sell your house because there's nowhere to buy a home right now. Think about the things that we're thinking of and how they're controlling us. Guys, I promise you, if you will create a more positive attitude, change your outlook, your approach, and have the confidence that you can overcome adversity, you're going to see great things happening in your business. I'm absolutely certain of it. And I am so excited to have the chance today to be with you guys and pumped that I get to work alongside you, and wishing you guys the best of days today. Get out there, go talk to people, have a great positive attitude, smile while you're on the phone, and you're going to have awesome things happen. Great. All right, let's close up with some affirmation.